Hello everybody, Tommyruin here, and one thing which I think World of Warcraft are really improving on is making classes more reactive to play. In Project Ascension, most of the builds which I have made haven't been very reactive and they just require you to press one button. You could basically do them with a macro. Well, in this video I'm going to show you one of the most reactive specs which I have played in Project Ascension. The spec is called Xeno's Multi-Mage, and it was made by my guildmaster Xeno. It's based around all the mage talents, and what you do is you cast Frostbolt, but you often get procs of Fireball or Arcane Missiles, hence the name Multi-Mage. And this means that you have to react to what your class has done in terms of procs, so you can do the maximum amount of damage. I will put a link for the build in the description, as well as a link to a picture, because I know a few people can't access Rexus, but I'm just going to talk over a few of the main points of this build. So there are two talents which give this spec its procky nature, and they are Brain Freeze in the Frost tree and Missile Barrage in the Arcane Mage tree. Brain Freeze means that your frost spells can proc fireballs to be instant cast and cost no mana, and Missile Barrage means that your fireballs or frostbolts can proc arcane missiles. So with your frostbolt you can proc both fireball and arcane missiles, which means that you have a lot of reaction to do if you do proc those abilities. With the rest of your talents you're basically buffing the damage of those three spells. You're buffing the damage of frost in the frost tree, you're slightly buffing the damage of fire in the fire tree, and you're buffing the damage of your arcane missiles in the arcane tree, and the arcane tree often gives damage buffs to your other mage spells. You use Moonkin form to increase your spell crit chance, and it's also very good for regenerating mana in AoE phases of fights. In Moonkin form your spell crits regenerate a base percentage of your mana. Blizzard crits quite a lot, so when you crit with a Blizzard tick you generate mana, and you often gain mana using Blizzard in Moonkin form. This spec is generally quite mana sensitive, and you don't often run out of mana. So the rotation is very simple. You just cast Frostbolt until you get some procs, and once you get those procs you can absolutely destroy people with instant cast abilities, and that is really fun. Once I got a proc spell of Arcane Missiles or Fireball, I often throw in an Arcane Barrage just to spice things up a little bit and potentially get another proc of Arcane Missiles. The only downside I found to this spec is the fact that if you don't get any procs, your damage will be quite low, but generally the procs do come, and I noticed especially using Blizzard, I got a lot of Fireball procs as well as regenerating most of my mana bar. But generally this spec is very solid for single target and for multiple targets, because you have things like Flame Strike and Blizzard for multiple targets, and then you have your 4 damage burst spells for single target, which mean that you're going to be quite competitive. I wouldn't say at the top, but in terms of a fun spec to play that you won't get bored doing, this spec is definitely there to be competitive and have fun. Now there are some changes to the build that I made in this video that you can see in the background. I didn't take Living Bomb or Totem of Wrath, and that is because I know that most people take Totem of Wrath, and when you're doing grouped up content you can leech off theirs. So you don't have to take Totem of Wrath unless you're going to be playing by yourself quite a lot, then it would be quite useful to get that extra crit. Living Bomb I didn't think was necessary, as you've already got so many AoE spells with Blizzard and Flame Strike, and Living Bomb takes quite a while to ramp up. It's quite good if the mobs are going to live for quite a long time, but if you're doing dungeon runs then trash mobs normally don't live for very long at all. It might be good in some hard modes that come up in the future, but for now I don't think this spell is worth it in the build guide, and you could save yourself a talent point and a few talent essences taking this off of the build. Now the major downside to this spec is the fact that you're locked in Moonkin form, and this means that you can't heal while in the form. So having to heal is quite an inconvenience if you are doing world PvP or you're farming, for instance, as you have to switch out of form and then back into form, and that's quite mana intensive. So that's one of the major downsides to this spec, but you do get to look like a chicken, so I guess it has its upsides. Overall, playing this spec was a lot of fun, and to be honest, when I tested it out on a training dummy I was quite disappointed. I didn't think it procced nearly enough, but when I got into a dungeon run and I tried it out there, once I had all the buffs from other classes, it really got going, and you got more and more procs, and you can compare it to how other people are doing, and to be honest, That's when I started having a lot of fun with it. So once you get used to this spec and realise how it works and how good it can be in a raid environment, then you'll start having fun with it. The fact that it is so proc based makes it much more interactive, and you have to actually look at what your class is doing, comparing it to the Frost Mage build, which I've got a video of, which does high damage but it's just so dull. So having this to have fireballs and arcane missiles spice it up a little bit really makes this spec. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you like this video and want to see more build guides, please do, if you have any spare gold, send it to Tommyruin. Respecs are expensive, and I'm trying to push out as many of these build guide videos as I can. I've got so many ideas that I want to test and make videos for you guys. Leave a comment down in the comment section if you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all very soon. Oh, he's going. Oh, he's gone.